A very good morning to all. Today we'll start with a new chapter, chapter number 8, and the name of the chapter is Life in Towns and Villages. We'll continue from page number 69. So here you can see the big idea and the topics are the second urbanization, features of second urbanization, village life, sources of the period and case study of Tamilakam. And here at a glance you can see the flow chart with the main heading beginning of urbanization and the subheadings are second urbanization and emergence of towns. So, we will be covering these topics in this chapter. And here in the history maker you can see the picture of Alexander Cunningham, and he was an archaeologist and also he was the first Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, and he identified the major cities, that is the ancient cities like Takshila, Vaishali, Nalanda and Kausambi, and he was able to identify these locations from the details written by Roman author whose name was Pliny and also from the travelogues of Chinese pilgrims named Faxian. So, this was about Alexander Cunningham, who was also an archaeologist. At the bottom you can see a timeline, and here it shows the emergence of towns in 300 BCE, and in 500 to 300 BCE northern black polished ware pottery reached its peak. So, we will be discussing about this in this chapter. Now, let us move on to the lesson. So, kids, you all know that the early humans, they lived in the Stone Age. It is known as Stone Age because the tools and the implements were made using stones, and slowly they converted into settled cultivators. That is, they started to settle down in a place for doing agriculture. So, the people, they started to live in small villages, and by 300 BCE, towns and cities emerged in India. So, the change from village life or rural life to town and city or urban life is known as urbanization. And we have already discussed that the first urbanization took place in the Indus Valley civilization. Here, people, they started to live a settled life and they did agriculture, and this resulted in the increase in the agricultural production, and also there was emergence of other activities. But this civilization did not last for long as the cities declined due to various factors like earthquake, flood and the foreign invasions. So, we have already discussed about this in the previous chapter. And the second urbanization came up in India in the later Vedic period, that is in the post-Mauryan phase. So, the second urbanization came up in India in the post-Mauryan phase, and here some of the many towns that emerged during the post-Mauryan periods were Rajagriha, now Rajagir, Pataliputra, now Patna, Vaishali, Banaras, now it's Varanasi, Mathura, Kausambi, Ayodhya and Kapilavastu. So, these were some of the towns that emerged during that period. Now, let us discuss the features of the second urbanization. So, the first one is iron tools and implements. So, during this period, iron was extensively used by the people, and they used this iron to make tools and agricultural implements. So, because of this, it was easy for them to clear the deep forest. So, since the deep forests were cleared, there was an increase in the cultivation land, and this resulted in the increase in the agricultural production, and also it resulted in the better standard of living for the people. So, this was about the iron tools and implements. Now, the second feature is guilds and trade. So, during this second urbanization, trading class grew, and the people, they organized themselves into shrenis or guilds. So, they had their own rules and regulation, and each guild, they had its own president called Pramukha or Shresthin, and the membership to a guild was hereditary. That means the power remained in the family. And because of the emergence of business communities such as the Sethis, Grahapatis and Sartavahas was also an important factor behind the emergence of towns and cities. And these guilds were divided into two divisions, that is merchant guild and craft guild. Here the merchant guilds, it consisted of traders and merchants, while the craft guilds consisted of leather and ivory workers, goldsmith, weavers and carpenters. So the guilds were divided into two groups, merchant guild and craft guild. These guilds had certain duties like providing technical training, collection of raw material, and they also controlled the flow of final products in the market. So with the expansion of the towns and cities, there was internal and external trade. And here some of the major imports. Imports means to buy things from other countries. So some of the major imports were wine, copper, tin, lead, coral, gold and silver coins. Whereas some of the major exports. Exports means the things that are sold to other countries. So some of the exports were cotton, woolen, silk clothes, spices, essence, oils, ivory goods, pearls and so on. So these were the things which were exported and imported. So this trading network was not only within India but outside India, and this has been proved in Buddhist literature, where it is mentioned that the Indian kingdoms, they traded with Sri Lanka, Burma, Java, Malaya and several western countries. So this was about the second feature, that is guilds and trade. Now let's discuss the third feature. Third feature is coins. So as you all know, in the beginning people used barter system, that is the exchange of goods. Then later on coins were used as the medium for exchange, and during the period of Mauryans, these coins were widely used, and the kings, they received taxes from the merchants in the form of coins. Here the archaeologists, they have found many coins from a number of sites that they have excavated, and here you can see the picture of punch marked coins. So these are the early coins, and they are known as punch marked coins because the designs are punched on metals like silver or copper and less frequently on tin, lead and putin. So these punch marked coins are also known as karshapanas or panas. So this was about the third feature, that is coins. Now the next feature is urban centers. So with the increase in the population, there was increase in the trading, and because of this towns and cities also increased, and many of these early cities, they became the capitals of the Janapadas and Mahajanapadas. For example, Vaishali was the capital of the Vaji, Rajagriha was the capital of Magda and Pataliputra was the later capital. And also these cities, they grew the trade and craft centers. And during this period, some settlements, they also became cities as they were located on important trade routes. For example, Mathura in Uttar Pradesh and Amravati and Nagarjunakonda in Andhra Pradesh. So some of the settlements, they changed into cities. And in the book named Indica, as we have already discussed that it was written by Megasthenes, a Greek ambassador. Here in this book, he has described Pataliputra as a large and beautiful city, and this city had 570 towers and 64 gates. It had a deep moat and a high wall surrounding the city, and here the king's palace was made up of wood. So Megasthenes was very much impressed by the city, that is Pataliputra, and because of this he mentioned it in his book Indica. So this was about urban centers. Now the next feature is the northern black polished ware. So during that time people, they used this northern black polished ware. It was made up of clay and it was black in color, and also it had shining surface. And the remains of such pottery have been found in the Gangetic plains of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, and in parts of central, eastern and southern India. So this was about northern black polished ware. Now the next feature is the ring wells. Here archaeological excavations at Kumrahar near Patna in Bihar have revealed the remains of the Mauryan palace. Here they have found the ceramic pots. Now you can see here in the picture the ceramic pots with ring placed one on top of the other, and these were known as ring wells. And the archaeologists, they believe that it was used as drains or for storing water. So this was about ring wells. So in this class we discussed about the second urbanization and some of its features. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.